First of 4 straight days of racing from Chicagoland Speedway. Tonight, as the second half of their season gets underway, the ARCA Racing Series takes center stage.
Here they come, onto the front straightaway.
5 wide.
Still grinding on each other.
Here we go.
A little contact. Here he comes inside. Look at that push.
Side by side.
No trouble.
Oh, it is getting good in the ARCA Racing Series. From just southwest of Chicago in Joliet, Illinois, it's the Scott 150 and round 11 of 20 of the 2018 ARCA Racing Series, presented by Menards. It's also the first full week of summer. It's been warm. It will be warmer throughout the rest of the weekend. Today, not too bad. Mid-80s, a little bit muggy, but getting breezy and pretty comfortable. And it should be a great night for racing. Thanks for joining us. We're excited to be with you. I'm Kevin Lee along with Phil Parsons. And Phil, let's get right into it. We've already had 7 different winners in 10 races so far this season. So give me a few names that could either add to their list or add to that list of 7 winners tonight.
Kevin, I want to keep my eye on Will Rogers. This young man won races on both coasts over the last 2 weeks. The K&N Series 2 weeks ago and beat some of the Cup regulars at Sonoma last week in the K&N race. He's got some big problems to overcome here, and Jim's going to talk about that a little bit later. Also want to keep my eye on Todd Gilliland. His only other ARCA start this year, he led 60 laps at Charlotte before sustaining some body damage, ended up finishing 4th. He's starting in the 8th spot. He's going to be very fast, doing double duty. Michael Self was leading this race last year until he cut a tire late. Ended up not finishing that race. He was the fastest car in practice. He's only had 1 finish worse than 4th in his 5 starts this year. And this is the hottest guy in ARCA right here, Sheldon Creed. He's won 2 of the last 3 races, and this is 2nd consecutive pole. He's going to be hard to beat.
This can be a one-stop race on fuel, but how likely is strategy still to play a part?
See those tires right there? That's going to be the key. A lot of the mile and a half we go to, Kevin, we talk about no tires at the end, 2 tires at the end, fuel only. Not here. You need all 4 tires here. As a matter of fact, last year, Christopher Bell did not have that great a car, but he put tires on late when Michael Self cut that tire down. This is the restart, Kevin, with 2 laps to go. He restarts 8th. He's running about 3rd when we get to turn 1. And watch him as he goes through turns 1 and 2 there. That's Ty Majeski, the 99 car. He's going to drive around the outside of him. That's Austin Terrio, our champion last year and leader. He's going to get him before he gets to turn number 3. It took him 3/4 of a lap to go from 8th to 1st. That's how important tires are here.
I'd like to order up some more of that tonight if we can, please. Well, we always learn more about the personalities and inner thoughts of the drivers, and this week, a very unique question was posed in the General Tire driver profile.
Ew. What? Man buns. I don't want to offend anyone. If you can find a picture of a hot guy with a man bun, I will like them.
I just don't understand, but I don't have anything against man buns. Not that I'm going to grow one, but just kind of neutral on that.
The man bun thing? Like, what are you doing? What are you guys doing with your lives? Just not a style that I get or understand.
My mom cut my hair last night. I don't think she would allow me to rock a man bun. I don't know. Uncle Kyle pulled it off. I might could do it. We might just have to try later on and see.
The man bun. The man bun. That has to be the most hideous thing. I think that's like the millennial mullet. Years later, when kids look back through their parents' yearbook and stuff, that's what that's going to be, is a mullet.
Well, Phil, I don't know where we can go from there. It's probably best if we don't comment, but maybe we just send it to Jim Trado, speaking of man buns.
Without a man bun.
He does not have one time. He actually got serious things to talk about. Hello, Jim.
I used to have enough hair to have a man bun. Let's just leave it at that. There's been hair pulling here in the pit stall of the number 52 machine of Will Rogers, though, guys. And qualifying today is a 20-minute session. Lay down your best lap, and we'll line up on that lap time. Well, guess what? 2 teams decided to be in the same spot at the same time on pit road leaving. The number 52 of Will Rogers was leaving from the left-hand side. The number 55 Toyota of Tony Brodinger was leaving from the right-hand side, heading out on the racetrack, and they collided. Tony Brodinger's left front fender had damage. The entire right side of the 52 machine of Will Rogers' car was torn up. Matter of fact, he had a hole in the side of the car they had to repair, so he didn't make a qualifying lap. Both of those teams will have to start at the rear of the field. Rogers had the 11th fastest time in practice, so we'll see how he can make his way to the front.
All right, will be fun to watch. A pretty quick car coming from the back, and so many others that have a chance to win this race. Getting closer to ready to go. Before we can do anything, we need to start the engine. Let's go again. Trackside at Chicagoland.
And now for the most famous words in motorsports, please welcome your Grand Marshals, Menards Contractors.
The ARCA Ilmore engines are fired. Gus Dean, one of those, getting prepared to go. There's Will Rogers. Will set the stage and the starting lineup. And go green from Chicagoland next.
The green flag waves and we go racing for 160 laps.
Riley Herbst is going around.
Can he avoid the contact? I think he is indeed. Just about a fourth of the way through. Sheldon Creed continuing to lead the way. And under caution for the second time tonight. This time it's the 78 of Max Tolman who has gone around and suffered some pretty significant damage there on the right front. Natalie Decker in that 25 machine, and she's got some heavy right side damage.
Just got a little bit loose getting down in the corner. Looked like she might have it saved for a moment, then just ran out of racetrack.
The green's out, and we're racing again at Gateway. Oh, contact.
Looks like Zane got into the outside wall. There may have been contact.
And that caution is out, and significant damage for the three-time winner. Creed, he's going to do it tonight. The winner for the second time this season, Sheldon Creed, victorious at Gateway. The points leader for a reason. Impressive tonight, leading 85 of the 120 laps.
For a race that was dominated by one driver, still really entertaining last Friday night at Gateway, especially third, fourth, and fifth. And look at the championship now, Phil. Sheldon Creed is starting to take charge.
Yeah, he stretched it out, almost 100 points gained on Zane after Zane's troubles last week.
Now, more Sheldon Creed today, although Zane Smith had the top spot for a little while, but Creed was 4/100ths of a second better in his qualifying, and he wins his second straight General Tire Pole Award.
When he's on a roll, isn't he?
And you had to wonder when he finally broke through and got that win. And I say finally, it's only been 20 races or whatever, but with the floodgates going to open, I think he started to figure out pavement stock car racing, and Sheldon Creed is going to be difficult to stop. He's got the starting spot, the primo starting spot in the Scott 150 tonight. Looking to win for the third time in 4 races. He's going to take the outside of the front row. And then Zane Smith on his bottom side, who's already won 3 times this season.
There's Michael Self. He was the quickest car in practice. And Cody Roba always has good speed here in the limited schedule he runs.
Riley Herbst has been running well lately. He has had good finishes here in this recent stretch. And Chase Purdy, 4th in points coming in.
Gus Dean's been on a roll too. Last 4 finishes, all top 6 finishes. Austin Hill's going to do double duty. He's going to run the ARCA race here in another MDM car.
One of 3. Todd Gilliland will be doing that as well. And then also Max Tolman is going to be running in the Camping World Truck Series race, which you can see tomorrow night here on FS1. And one of 3 females for the same team, Tony Breidinger, is in this race, making her 3rd straight start of the season.
Yeah, Leilani Munter back in row number 10, another one of the females for Venturini Motorsports.
And the rest of the field you will see scroll through. Also make note, Jesse Iwuji is starting in the number 9 car this weekend. He's in the Thomas Prater machine.
Thomas is going to be the crew chief.
Yes. All right, we've got 5 exceptional looks inside the cockpit, Phil.
Yeah, this is Will Rogers. This is the Dryden High Performance Lubricants on board for Kenny Schrader Racing. He finished 6th in his last ARCA start at Michigan, looking to go from all the way from the back towards the front.
Leilani Munter has the General Tire on board. She will start 19th, finished a career best 8th in the season opener at Daytona. this season in her second start career-wise at Chicagoland.
We're going to ride along with Natalie Decker. That's the Yamaha Power Products Toyota for Benderini Motorsports, and she's 7th in points right now, and she will start from the 11th spot.
And you mentioned Gus Dean has been riding well lately. He is 6th in points. He will have Degree Cooling Products on board, starting in the 7th position.
Also going to ride along with Riley Herbst. 4 of his last 5 finishes, all top 5s, and he starts from the 5th position for Riley. And the ARCA coolers on board.
All right, let's get into what we're expecting in this race tonight and what kind of culture and facilities the drivers will be working with the Scott 150 track description.
Great racing surface. This surface was built back in 2001. We've never had a repeat winner in all the ARCA races that we've had here at this facility. This will be the 18th different winner here. You can see this racetrack, only 18-degree banking in the corners. That's not banked quite as much as some of the mile and a halves you see our front straightaway, 2,400 feet long.
7 previous ARCA winners in the field tonight, but as you mentioned, none have won at Chicagoland, so an 18th different winner. Now, the Scott 150 race analysis.
See, this race is 100 laps, 150 miles. You see our pit window somewhere between 60 and 65 laps. As you mentioned, they could do it on one stop, Kevin, but they're going to want those tires. Christopher Bell won this race last year.
Getting a little grippier as the sun goes down. It's just about fully dark, ready to go in the middle of summer. From Chicagoland Speedway, bad, fast, mile-and-a-half racetrack. And a lot of young, hungry drivers ready to get after it. The pole sitter, the control car, is the white and blue number 28 United Reynolds Toyota on the outside. Another Toyota, his teammate, on the inside. That's Zane Smith. And dropping down, Michael Self going below the white line. He's going to grab the lead, or at least try to right from the jump.
What a great run by Michael Self. He had a good momentum. Look at Todd Gillen, the 54 black and red car on the outside. He's making a move by Riley Herbst as well.
That was bold by Michael Self, and he made it work.
The Gus Dean racing on the inside of Cody Robaugh. Gus got a little bit loose down there. Remember, the air pressure hasn't built up in these tires yet.
3 wide, Dean is in the middle. Braden is on the low side, and that's Chase Purdy. Dark colors this week. It's been the red Bama Buggy's car, but it's the dark number 8 with Purdy on the high side, and they'll stay 3 wide.
Chase had that great runner-up finish last week at Gateway. How about Austin Hill? He's going to drive by Gus Dean and try to get by the 8 of Purdy as well. That's the 12 car.
Just the second start in ARCA for Austin Hill. Has been doing the Camping World Truck Series most weekends this year. Little wiggle back there for Purdy. He'll hang on to it. On the high side of Gus Dean.
It's a battle for the 9th position. Gus is going to drive back by him on the inside. There's Natalie Decker going to the top side of the racetrack in the black 25. There's Joe Graff. Joe Graff is in the top 10 in points, Kevin, despite missing the race at Daytona. Was not even entered down there.
He's had a couple of really good runs, a third, and then that second by about 3 or 4 feet. And here's Zane Smith going to the bottom side, trying to get around Creed for second, and Smith is going to clear him. And he'll go to work now on Michael Self.
Michael Self grabbed that lead going in turn 1 at the initial start, and he's jumped out to over a second lead in 3 laps.
Well, he kind of dominated this race last year and lost a tire in the final 10 laps or so. He said, this is one I really want back. Not only because of this last year, but he also felt like he let one get away at Charlotte earlier this year.
I was talking to some of the crew chiefs, and they said this is the car to beat. He was bad fast in practice, got a little bit loose qualifying, didn't get that pole, but got a great car for the race here.
Remember, Venturini won this race last year. They've won 3 times on what is now their home track, the Chicago family. On board with Riley Herbst now, running in 5th position, looking up ahead to Todd Gilliland.
Riley went on a tear starting at Charlotte. Had a great runner-up finish there. As I mentioned earlier, right after that, 2 more top 5s, including another second-place finish at Michigan. Had trouble at Madison and then came back with a top 5 at Gateway, despite some trouble last week.
Jim, what do you know about Sheldon Creed?
Well, our pole sitter has dropped back. He just reported in my car is super tight. He battled a loose condition early in practice today. Again, we practiced in the bright sunshine, the heat of the day, from 2 to 3:30 here in Chicagoland. It was 85, 86 degrees and 120 degrees on pit road when you took the measure of the asphalt temperature. That team made a gamble. They actually hit on something at the very end of practice. But then he came to qualifying at 5:30 this afternoon. The guess was had to be made by then because they impounded the cars after qualifying. So Creed, as happy as he was at 3:30, not so happy 5 hours later now they're in the racing with this number 28 United Rentals Toyota.
So Phil, how likely are things to change an hour from now when it's fully dark? Might you be bad or good and be the opposite later on?
Most of the crew chiefs tell me that this racetrack has a tendency to free up a little bit as the grip comes up, as the track cools off. That may work right into Sheldon Creed's hands.
Michael Self has had control of things here, dropping down below the white line to take the lead in the opening moments, and he's in control, but it's still very early going. ARCA from Chicagoland on FS1. It's ARCA racing tonight from Chicagoland Speedway. Kevin Lee, Phil Parsons, Jim Trado. Michael Self has controlled the early stretch of this race, and now he's doubled his gap to 3.5 seconds on Zane Smith. Sheldon Creed running in third. And here's Will Rogers. Jim spoke about him at the beginning. Contact with the 55 in qualifying, so he started at the back. And Jim, he's already made his way up to mid-pack.
Yeah, he's got spotter Rocky Ryan working with him. Also his crew chief Matt Weber. They did a lot of repairs on the car. They had to put metal behind that right side door panel as well as some pop rivets through it, and they had to seal the rear crush panel on the right hand side. So as Will is working through that, he's not reported any conditions due to that damage from practice, or excuse me, in qualifying, but he is being told now, settle in. This is about where he wants to be. According to his spotter, settle in and find your pace at this point, as Will has made his way quickly forward from the very last starting position.
It was a good look on Rogers on board there as we have a caution in the backstretch. We could really see Blaine Perkins kind of wiggling around right in front of him, and the 2 car of Eric Cottle is slowing to a stop, and that's the reason for our first caution 14 laps in here at Chicagoland.
That'd be a good break for Will Rogers. Now he's moved up to the 12th position. I think it's too early to come in and waste those tires, Kevin. We know we can go 60, 65 laps. Now these caution laps will even stretch that even farther. I think ideally they would like to go 40 or 50 laps before they put that first set of tires on.
So under our first caution, Michael Self had stretched his lead out to more than 3.5 seconds. It all goes away, and we're going to have a restart coming up in just a moment. He dominated the later stages of this race last year. Can Michael Self finish this year? Beautiful night here at Chicagoland Speedway for the Scott 150 in the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards. Under our first caution here tonight, Eric Cottle slow on track. Michael Self is the leader. We're going back to last week at Gateway for our Scott Rookie Spotlight. It was rough going for a couple of the rookies. Natalie Decker
had a little bit of help right here. Kept hitting the left rear quarter panel, turned her sideways into the outside wall.
She did a nice job recovering, finishing 15th. And Zane Smith was in some battles all night. With Gustine was one of them, but contact with the wall set him back. He ultimately finished in 16th, what has been a very impressive season. And Smith is leading the Scott Rookie Challenge and contending for the overall championship as well. And so far tonight, so good, pretty much. Zane Smith running in seconds. There's the Scott Rookie Spotlight numbers. Chase Purdy, 4th overall in the championship, 2nd in rookie points, very much within range. Travis Braden, Natalie Decker, and Joe Graff Jr., we mentioned, has only been in 9 of the 10 races, so he's going to make up some, and they're allowed drops. Their 15 best finishes is how that is going to end up. Well, this is Jesse Awuji, along with Cottle having the problem. Jesse Awuji having some mechanical issues, and he stopped as well. But that gives us a chance to talk about Jesse. We've mentioned him a little bit. He's a very unique story, a former college football player, a naval officer, still a lieutenant serving, and he was at the Sonoma race last weekend, and on the way home, he saw something that he didn't like, and he stopped to help. A minivan was starting to look like it was catching on fire, and the family was still inside. So he got over and said, hey, it's time to get out. I guess the dad was trying to get some things out of the car, got him away, and then it basically exploded. So he encouraged them and helped them getting away from what could have been really, really bad news. Jim, you have more?
Yeah, on the race car itself, they fought through a fuel pump issue that cost them a lot of time in practice today. The Prater Racing team had only run up the first 4 races this year and had intended on coming back with us in August at the Dirt Mile at Springfield. So this opportunity came about just a week ago, working through some mechanical gremlins. The fuel pump was the initial issue. Now the car is just shut off for Iwuji and the number 9 Prater Racing team.
I know they were looking forward to getting a chance to run in that equipment this weekend. Going to have to wait to show what they can do. All right, we're going to go back to green this time.
Had a couple cars come to pit road. The 78 of Max Tallman. Gus Dean actually gave up a top 10 running position to come to pit road.
But still restarts in 13th, so not a whole lot of track position. Already quite a few cars have fallen off the lead lap. It looks like we have 18 cars on the lead lap, so some strategy already being played. Michael Self is going to choose the high line. Last time on the start of the race, he chose the really, really low line, go below that white line. Let's see what we have this time. Sheldon Creed has that opportunity now, starting from inside the second row, and Self is a little slow getting away.
That really jammed everybody up. I'm not sure that Will Rogers, Gus Dean may have some damage in the according effect.
And Creed did take the same path, dropping below the white line, and he rockets back to the front.
Now Michael Self's going to fight back to the outside of Riley Herbst in the battle for second. 3 wide for fourth.
On board with Riley Herbst and the ARCA coolers on board. With the look itself, squeezing back around the outside.
So the momentum lost there by Riley Herbst when he had to pedal the throttle over there in turn 4. Todd Gillen now the black and red number 54 right on his rear bumper.
Cody Robaugh in the green and black County Mulch number 7 car. Working on Travis Braden, who's had some good runs here recently. Graff on the bottom of Purdy. Graff in the yellow big time Ford. That is for 8th. There you see in the 69 red car, Will Kimmel right behind them. Running in the top 10 here in the early going.
Yeah, Will's one of those guys that came to pit road and it looked like he put tires on. So it'll be interesting to see how well he's able to do with those fresher tires than these other guys have.
This is our first chance to learn for a potential opportunity later in the race how important tires are. Herbst on the bottom, Self on the top side, battling for second place.
Yeah, Michael Self's car doesn't seem to be quite what it was at the initial start. He opened up about a second half lead once he jumped out front. Now Sheldon Creed has opened up about a 3/4 of a second lead. And Michael Self battling hard with Riley Herbst for second.
Creed is not really getting away, though. You can see that white car not too far up in the distance as they battle side by side behind him. Self clears Herbst, so it's Creed, Self, Herbst, Gillen, Smith, the top 5.
That was a great corner that time for Michael Self around the top side as we see Austin Hill, the 12 car, dive underneath the 98 of Blaine Perkins. Michael Self, the fastest car on the racetrack that last lap. And look at the line he's running. He's a full 2 lanes higher than our leader, Sheldon Creed.
That's what I'm noticing. There are a lot of different ways to get around this racetrack as we ride on board with Gus Dean, who did pit for fresh tires, working his way back through position. Hasn't picked up too much, though. He's only 14th right now.
Yeah, I think he just did fuel only and probably an adjustment. You see him moving around the outside of Will Kimmel, makes Will loose as he goes by him, opens up the bottom for Perkins as well in the 98.
Blaine Perkins, one of the 7 teenagers in that number 98 Auto Park at 4-Star Chevrolet.
Here comes Michael Self.
He's got a good run on Creed. He'll try to go around the long way.
He can really drive in the corner extremely hard. They were about even through the center of the corner, but all the time was gained into the corner by Michael Self that time.
And he is there. Self in the Sinclair Lubricants Toyota looks to the high side. Side by side now for the lead with Sheldon Creed.
Well, that 15 car is showing to be strong. They knew they had a great car in practice.
He just drove right around him. That was impressive. I wonder what happened on that restart.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Well, it seemed like he just brought the field down real slow. And then the inside started to go, and then they jumbled up, and chain reaction, they started bouncing off each other.
We're told nothing was said on the radio. Self certainly recovered very quickly, got back up to speed, and is driven back to the front. Self, Creed, there's Riley Herbst running in third position. Now he's on board. So battles brewing in the early going. Stay with us from Chicagoland for ARCA. Nighttime racing from Chicagoland Speedway with the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards. Michael Self has led 23 of the 30 laps, but he lost the lead briefly on the only restart we've had. He was the leader, chose the outside line, and watch him in the green and white Sinclair car, just didn't get going.
Watch how slow he brings the field up there. He's out in front of the inside car, and then he almost like he hits the brakes. Look at him stack up behind him. Contact between those cars, fourth and fifth row on back.
So don't know if he missed a shift or something else happened, but he quickly recovered and drove right back to the front. And here's Tom Birdie nearly going around, coming down towards the pit lane. He's going to avoid any kind of contact, and we do go yellow. So about a third of the way through, and Tom Birdie brings out our second yellow of the day.
Nice job by Tom to keep that car from getting in the inside pit wall there.
And he'll just continue on to his pit box now.
I'd say the car going around the outside, Sheldon Creed, our second place car, robbed enough air off that rear spoiler, and that got him loose. You see him now, watch him lock the brakes up and keep that car out of the inside pit wall.
Yep, nice job on that. So they'll slow down, and Michael Self, for the second time, will see his 3.5+ second lead go away.
I think we come in now and put tires on. We know we're going to stop again. We're going to make this a two-stop race. These tires have already slowed down over 2 seconds from our qualifying speed. I was watching the leaders there right before that caution came out, and they were running about 32.60, 32.70, and the pole was a 30.60.
So on the lead lap, you're still looking at 17, 18 cars. Pits are open, so we'll see how many takers we have. If you're the leader, do you come in too?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
I
maybe
want
everybody
tires.
comes
If I'm
in.
Michael Self, I want tires. We've gone a third of the way through this race. Let's put tires on.
Makes sense. You want to get it done under caution.
Plus, we're halfway through a fuel run as well.
Fuel here, that would not be a concern the rest of the way. Here comes the leader. He brings Creed, Herbst, Gilliland, Smith. The rest of the field is with him. So all the lead cars are going to take advantage of the caution here for fresh General tires. Braden and Smith have some of the early pit boxes. Herbst and Self rolling in. Jim.
Michael Self said my car was just a tick free in the center. They want to address that with air pressure adjustments on the number 15 Sinclair Lubricants Toyota. Same can be said for the 28 machine of Sheldon Creed. He wants a chassis adjustment, but his biggest issue is the car has been tightening up as the run goes on. So his crew chief, Jeff Stankiewicz, has called for a massive adjustment. Give me some air in those tires. Give me one round in the right rear. Give me up 3 on the track bar to get this car tightened up for the number 28, the point leader. Excuse me, loosened up as he's battling a tight condition. He'll go off second off pit road, third now behind Self and Herbst.
Good stop for Riley Herbst, 18 Joe Gibbs Racing Team. They pick up a spot. He comes out right behind Michael Self, who maintains the lead. Slower stop. I saw Cody Robaugh, who had been running pretty high, still there on the pit lane. So we'll set it all coming up in just a moment and get set to go back to green flag racing. Michael Self has been dominant so far, but there is a long way to go tonight. ARCA from Chicagoland on FS1. Tomorrow night, we're back here under the lights with the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series at Chicagoland. The drivers look to tackle the mile and a half. The action starts 8:30 Eastern tomorrow night on FS1 or stream it live on the Fox Sports Go app.
2 practices today. Johnny Sauter, Todd Gilliland led those practice sessions.
Todd Gilliland getting a chance to get some extra work in here tonight in the ARCA race. Johnny Sauter, the championship leader, Dalton Sargent, former runner-up in the ARCA series, was second in the afternoon practice. All right, just had most of the field take their first stop, and we had some that were naughty on pit lane, including Zane Smith, who was running 5th. Joe Graff, Max Tolman was running also in the top 10.
Yeah, as well as Joe Graff. So it really hurt some of these top runners here.
And Leilani Munter gets back on the lead lap with the free pass. So we have 18 on the lead lap right now. Now, I mentioned Gus Dean was one of those that got hit for speeding. Jim has more on Dean.
Yeah, Gus just came down pit road, guys, on that last restart. As Michael Self was a bit slower getting through the gears, he actually did get nose damage, and the team was looking at the nose damage and monitoring the water temp. It got up to 230 under green flag conditions. He came down pit road just a moment ago for his second stop to address the nose after his initial stop here for the tires to get track position. So they give up that track position in the Gree Chevrolet, but more importantly, they now know what the nose looks like. They all took 3 guys, looked at it, moved some tape around to try to get that cooling on the nose, but that takes away some of that handling. So peeled tape, Phil, you know, take away tape on this kind of racetrack, it could be more of a handful. You want to keep as much tape on there as you can. Now, the number 18 machine starting inside row 1 on this restart, he reported just before the caution it got tight on throttle, and the loose has gone away. That young man came in today questioning what his car could do, because the first lap of practice he said there was a vibration so bad he couldn't drive the thing. It was teeth chattering. They worked hard at that car all day. Riley Herbst, now after 2 national series starts in NASCAR, has got his number 18 car up to second with a great pit stop with 4 tires and a fuel and adjustments there to address his issue.
Yeah, Kevin, as Jim mentioned, Riley Herbst made his Xfinity debut a couple weeks ago at Iowa with a strong top 10 finish. Came back the next week at Gateway, made his Truck Series debut, also a top 10 finish. So nice job here for the last couple of weeks for Riley Herbst, and he's running extremely well in this ARCA car too.
So he'll have the bottom side, Michael Self on the top side. The spot to be has been second row on the bottom.
Inside row 2.
Where Sheldon Creed is again. He took the lead from that spot on the only restart of the race, and that's where Michael Self was at the beginning of the race when he shot down on the apron. Kind of looks like how they do through the dog leg at Phoenix, going down, flattening out.
Yeah, exactly. No out of bounds here either. You can run all the way to the grass.
Pace car is off. Self got a slow start last time. Let's see how it works this time. Check Will Kimmel in the red 69, starting from 4th position. Creed will try to go below the white line again. Herbst is going to try to bang with them a little bit, and Self is going to go around the long way and grab the spot, or at least maintain it for the lead here at Chicagoland.
Yeah, Riley Herbst did not give Sheldon Creed any room. Creed said, I have to get back on the racetrack here at some point.
So Creed is going to fall back a couple of positions.
We haven't mentioned the 27 of Travis Braden. He has a good car tonight. He's been up in the top 10 since the initial start, as we see the 8 of Chase Purdy move down to the inside underneath Austin Hill.
And he'll find the room to get back on. Just the second ARCA start of the season for Austin Hill.
There's Will Rogers in the 52 Dryden car. Remember that big hill he had to climb. He's up with some good cars right now. He's done a great job since the initial start of this race.
All the way from the back inside the top 10.
Remember, we talked on that first caution flag that Will Kimmel put tires on. You see the result of that right now. He's not quite able to hang with these guys. His tire's a little bit older than theirs. See Zane Smith, the 41, who caught a glimpse of him trying to move his way by the 69 of Will Kimmel, fighting his way from that penalty.
This is for 8th position. You touched on it in the pre-race. Will Rogers has been hot. He beat 4 or 5 Cup drivers. Remember last year, he got so much notoriety for finishing second in the K&N West race in Sonoma to Kevin Harvick. And that's when everybody said, wait a minute, this kid can drive it.
I was talking to him at Daytona about that. He said, I cannot wait to go back to Sonoma again. He said, I hope Kevin runs that race again. Kevin didn't, but a handful of Cup guys did, and he beat them all.
There is a good armada of veteran drivers. Eric Almirola, William Byron, Daniel Suarez, Eric Jones. He's won his K&N East race this year at New Jersey Motorsports Park. Now trying to tackle the oval in the ARCA car, running inside the top 10 right now. Here's Cody Robaugh, we mentioned, in the 7, and Chase Purdy chasing him in the number 8. They're battling for 6th position right now.
Yeah, we only see Cody on occasion, but when we do, he always has some speed here. Has had some solid top 10 finishes.
His best finish this season is at 9th, but he's really been faster than that. I think he was 10th also at Charlotte, but he was strong at Daytona, strong at Charlotte. I think they've taken a nice step forward this season.
Yeah, if we just put a whole race together, I'm telling you, he's knocking on the door of finishing up in the top 5.
For second, Todd Gilliland on the bottom in the 54. I mentioned he was fastest in the truck today. Now getting after it in the ARCA car. Riley Herbst on the high side. And Gilliland is going to get through.
Drives it hard down in turn number 3.
We were watching him in qualifying. He was wicked loose in qualifying.
He sure was. Herbst tried to fight back on the inside. Wasn't quite able to get up to the 54 of Gilliland.
And maybe he was wicked loose because he said he was really tight in the practice. And look at that.
How about that little wiggle? That was a great save right there, Kevin.
So that's going to get Riley Herbst an opportunity to get by, but Gilliland is not giving it up. They'll stay side by side racing for second, and still only a little more than a half a second behind the leader, Michael Self.
Yeah, there's a lot of grip up in the middle and towards the top of the racetrack.
Gilliland in the Frontline Enterprises Toyota for DGR Crossley Racing.
He's able to drive around the outside of Herbst to grab back the second spot.
Gilliland turned 18 in May. He's already a winner in ARCA. He won at 15 years and 2 days old at Toledo. That's going to be a tough one to beat because you need to be 15. Well, Michael Self has won already this year, 2 times in his career, looking for number 3 tonight at Chicagoland. Thursday night racing with ARCA at Chicagoland Speedway at the Scott 150. We have moved past the midway to Michael Self has dominated this race. He did not start the pole, grabbed the lead in the opening corner, has led 44 laps so far. Joining us again, Phil Parsons, Chip Trail, I'm Kevin Lee.
Been watching the score monitor, Kevin, and every single lap, the 15 car is the fastest car. Not by a lot. He was only about 1/4 of a second faster than Todd Gilliland that last lap. But he has the speed.
And here's Gus Dean coming down pit road.
Unscheduled pit stop to Gus Dean. The car is running.
Jim reported the issues that they had earlier. They were trying to address during the last stop. They're going to do at least right side general tires.
Doesn't look like the tires are down on the right side. Let's check out the left side. I don't see any obvious flat tires. Certainly could have been a low tire.
Vibration says the car is knocking his lovely down pit road. He went out speed. So it's a vibration of the 32. And now he's being told he'll be a spotter. Too fast entering pit road for the 32 Gus Dean. A big ball championship points here at Chicagoland.
Second penalty in a row for him on pit road. This was going to come under green, though. This will cost him almost another lap.
Yeah, he'd already lost a lap. He was in position to get the free passes. There was a caution, but now if he goes 2 laps down, then that could be game over for him to try to pick up any significant positions. Lead is over 3 seconds now for Michael Self.
Running the high side of the racetrack. He's got moved up the highest on the racetrack to finding some grip right there.
I mentioned that Charlotte is one that he'd like to have back. That's the only bad result he has this season, starting half of the 10 races. First, fourth, third, and third are his other results.
Remember, he had a fast car there. very little time to get that car ready and just didn't have the results that they were hoping for. Had a great car in practice. Unfortunately, lost it qualifying.
There's Todd Gilliland. He's got a win in his 3 starts. The second start of the year, he could have should have won in Charlotte as well.
Yeah, great run finish last week at Gateway in the Truck Series. Wasn't old enough to run on the races for the Truck Series. Now, once he turns 18, he will run the remainder, but he will have to win to get to the playoffs. He's too far out, Kevin, point-wise.
Riley Herbst running in third position. It was a rough start to the season for Riley. And while they haven't broken through for a win yet, this season does seem like they've got a program back.
Yeah, couple run finishes. They built a brand new car for Charlotte. Finished second there. They're Michigan finished second. He's our Pocono winner from last year. I think this team is on the upswing for sure.
He looked really strong at Pocono earlier this year. He's looking forward to going back later on as well. Sheldon Creed reads how good it's been running in fourth. That's rough right for him.
That's about as far back as he's been the entire race.
Will Kimmel on the high side of Natalie Decker, the 25 car, so this is for 12th position.
Remember, Will's tires are a little bit older than most of the competitors right now. He pitted back on lap number 15 to put tires on. Doing a nice job on those older tires, though.
Natalie started in 11th. Pole sitter season opener in Daytona. And one of 3 ladies on the Venturini team. First time that's ever happened for any major stock car team.
Yeah, pretty common female as well. We're in the state right now. The caution she's have a decision to make. Do they think this is going to be the last caution, or do they think there'll be another caution? Remember, Ravel won this race by saving that last set of tires, putting them out with about 10 laps to go. They had a 2-lap shootout, and he drove by the entire field.
He led 2 laps last year. They were the last 2, the ones that matter. Well, I mentioned the 3 young ladies that are racing for Venturini. By the way, it wasn't a publicity stunt or let's make this happen. They've been working with this throughout the season, and they pieced together a schedule and insisted, all 3 have raced the same weekend, so now let's let everybody know about it. And it's noteworthy for Venturini. It's noteworthy because Bill had an all-female pit crew back then. He won his first championship in 1987.
Right along Leilani right here. Leilani, first time they were able to open up a schedule, expand their schedule that normally we would see here at Daytona Talladega. But she was able to put the sponsorship together, the BeaconStrong.com, and able to run probably 8 or 10 races. So great to see her out here at places other than Daytona Talladega. Mike Self now has lost a little bit of that lead. He's now down to 2 seconds now, Kevin.
He's lost a second off here just in this last little stint. So stay tuned. See what Todd Gilliland, Riley Herbst, Sheldon Creed, and the rest have here at Chicagoland Speedway. 65 completed Chicagoland Speedway. ARCA time and Protect Plus mid-race recap. Myself from third goes below the white line, grabs the lead right at the start of this race, and then he took off for a little while. And Will Rogers started back after problems in qualifying and worked his way all the way to mid-pack very quickly.
Yeah, the 9 position right now. There he is, going by the 9-8 of Blaine Perkins. A nice charge of the field for Will Rogers.
We've had 2 cautions so far. After the first one, myself was the control car on the outside, but he didn't really go. Zane Smith.
Almost looks like maybe the car jumped out of gear or something. He started to go, then he kind of stalled out a little bit. Really stacked those guys up. It really put some damage on the 32 of Gustine.
Smith had the lead for a moment. Sheldon Creed went to the front, but here's Mike myself, who's been the strongest all day, going a long way around Sheldon Creed to get it back.
He's been strong this entire race. You can see right here under DuPont Tech Plus race recap.
You mentioned Gustine had some damage early. This came in again a few laps ago because of a right rear loose wheel. So that's what has caused the extra stop of Gustine, and it's taking him now with another 15 penalty. He is 3 laps down at the moment. Right on board. Cooling products on board. And meanwhile, out front, Todd Gillen going to the bottom side of Michael Self. The leading in, slipping away, and Gillen has grabbed it. Self has dominated the entire race, but here in the last 7 or 8 laps, Gillen has been whittling into it, and now he's in the front.
I think less than 10 laps ago, he had a 3-second lead over Todd Gillen, and Todd just marched through the field there.
An impressive job of tracking down the leader, Todd Gillen. In just his second ARCA start of the year, he's been on the roll in the Camping World Truck Series. But he has moved in front of Michael Self and won the Self half as the chaser instead of the chasee. And it really looks like it's been more Gillen because you see Hurts is still about 5 seconds back. So let's look at it again, Phil.
We noticed that Michael Self had been running the high side of the race. We saw Todd Gillen right on the bottom of the racetrack and just charged the center of the corner, got a good run and blasted by him here as they got into turn number 1.
Lap 71, Michael Self has led at 60 laps. But now, Jim and Todd Gillen up front.
I recall Gillen led those 6 laps at Charlotte. Well, this is the same fast Toyota race car. The future drivers were underneath Gillen. They were giving the intervals, as I was also monitoring the number 15 of Michael Self. When Self was leading in those last 10 laps before being gobbled up and past the lead, Self talked about his car getting tighter and tighter. He wanted to run in the middle a little bit, but they set him on that best route. But now that car is too tight to drive at the front. So 54 getting underneath me. I thought they were going to cut some grass here on the front stretch. I was amazed. They were both able to get on the apron at the start finish and run for that position. More importantly, the 15 is tight condition. 54 is exactly where he wants to be on the pace at the front.
That Frontline Enterprises Toyota for DGR Cross Racing is hooked up right now. Pretty good for Travis Brake throughout the night as well, battling in 8th position. Will Rogers is there. This is on board Rogers.
Took a little to the outside. Didn't quite have enough momentum to make it happen that time. Nonetheless, a great drive by Will Rogers from the back of the field. He was right around the middle of the racetrack. See Travis Brake up at the top of the racetrack looking for some grip.
Brake hangs on to 8th for now. We're getting to where only the top 10 are on the lead lap. That's how hooked up the front runners are then.
That's what kind of pace that Michael Self on now. Todd Gillen upset. Lapped all the way up to the 10th place car.
So what kind of concerns when the stop was made at lap 34? Do they have to stop again? Does someone think about trying to make it the rest of the way?
I think everybody tries to make it the rest of the way. Remember, we said our pit window was somewhere between 60 and 65 laps. They all pitted with 66 laps to go. Now, they had a couple of precaution laps after that, but I think we're getting a report now that Todd Gillen is being told that he needs to save the fuel if he can. He's opened up already 2 seconds late over Michael Self. He may be in the same mode, trying to save the fuel as well.
All the leaders pitted on the same lap, although Zane Smith, he came in 3 laps later, but that was a drive-through. I don't think he took any fuel. So same strategies for all the leaders. And right now, Todd Gillen is the young man in front. More than the first half of the race was dominated by Michael Self, but shortly after the midpoint, Todd Gillen very quickly made up a 3-second deficit, and now he's over 4 seconds in front of Michael Self. In ARCA from Chicagoland, the Scott 150. Thanks for joining us tonight. Evan Lee, Phil Parsons, and Jim Schrader. Michael Self, Riley Herb, Sheldon Reed, Zane Smith running a fifth. Now, we were talking about fuel. We think the leaders are probably thinking about saving. There's not a caution. It's going to be close. Zane Smith, we believe, does have some fuel in hand. He was penalized by pit speeding, but that's only fallen to the back of the line. So then, He simply came in, we believe, in top dog.
Probably would have won the go game. So he has 3 laps more fuel than these other guys do. I don't think it's still a situation where you can be comfortable on having fuel. But I really just wonder if Mike myself maybe has backed off knowing that he's not able to run with Todd Gillen right now. So maybe he just backed off with the stable fuel.
Good point. Leilani Lutzer, we're seeing a replay on the right side of the screen in the box. She just came in on pit road. We saw her slow a moment ago.
See the car shut off there on exit. It's turn number 2. She was able to get refired. She's under the power right now.
So back out 4 laps down. And Gillen, here just in the last 45 seconds, we've been talking, has added another second to his advantage. We're close to it.
Yeah, I just really wonder if Mike myself and his guys think that fuel is too close.
I think that makes sense. If you don't have enough to beat him on the track right now, your hope is that he can't make it. And even if there was just a quick caution that gets you back even with him, if you have a little more fuel to burn, it might take a few caution laps to make it simple.
Well, we want tires. If the caution's going to come out, we're coming in with tires. We're not going to stay out on these old tires. I remember last year with Christopher Bell.
And the later you get, the fewer they're going to be on the lead lap. We're down to 9 on the lead lap. Say it's another 15 laps before caution. Maybe you're down to 6 or 7 minutes. No brainer.
Yeah, Travis right now is within a couple seconds going a lap down. So we're going to have 8 cars on the lead lap.
Another half a second on Self the last lap. Todd Gillen expands his advantage. But Self is not giving up anything to the rest of the field. He's maintaining a 5 second gap he has on Riley Herbst for second.
Remember, Todd Gillen doesn't run for points. This is only the second time he's run this year, so he really can gamble on whether he has enough fuel or not.
Michael Self can as well. He's not running for driver points.
But that car is running for the General Tire Super Speedway Challenge.
True. They're third in owner points, by the way. And tied for second in the General Tire Super Speedway Challenge. Chasing the number 28 of MDM. Sheldon Creed has been in every race. There's 3 back there working on some lap traffic, trying to get his way back up to Riley Herbst. Around Zach Ralston in the 11 car. Randy Hillenberg this weekend.
Another solid effort for Riley Herbst and the Joe Gibbs team. And certainly, Sheldon Creed's not going to finish outside the top 4 or 5 if he's going to have an ARCA race.
Zane Smith, a 3-time winner this season. Sheldon Creed has a chance to match that tonight and get on his giddy up.
Sheldon Creed only has had one finish this year outside top 4. That was Toledo when he had some issues and finished in the 18th position.
Smith putting another lap down on 77 Joe Graff Jr. He's coming off a rough result at Gateway last weekend. He's had a couple of 2 of the last 3, 11th place run and Michigan as well, but everything else for Zane Smith outside of Daytona has been up near the front. And this young man has moved to the front very quickly tonight. Todd Gillen, he's in control right now. We're getting to the later stages of ARCA from Chicagoland Speedway. Stay with us for the finish. The FIFA World Cup round of 16 kicks off Saturday with 2 huge matches on Fox. First, Paul Pogba and France battle Messi in Argentina at 9 a.m. Eastern. Then Uruguay faces off Ronaldo in Portugal. Catch the FIFA World Cup Saturday on Fox or stream all the action live on the Fox Sports app. Here we're inside the final 10 from Chicagoland Speedway, the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards and the Scott 150. Jim, tell us what you know about the dominant car of late, the 54 of Todd Gillen.
Yes, it's spot on. Chris Lambert works with Joe Gibbs Racing on Saturdays and Sundays. He got his dad, David, giving him lap intervals, and his crew chief, Chris Lawson, has been with his team since they were in late model racing, built this to where they are now winning races in ARCA and the Can-Am Pro Series. So, David, giving you time, says, here's your lap time. You're doing a lot better than the car behind you. He cannot catch you if you maintain his pace. Save us some fuel. Don't push it. The 15 car itself is too tight right now, challenge. Albeit a quicker at this point in the race because they'll land the same fuel to get to the finish.
This Truck Series crew chief Marcus Richmond also up around the pit box, still in the Mobil 1 uniform.
Pretty nice advantage they have. Dad is not only a former winner in a NASCAR National Series in Xfinity for top 5 in the Cup Series, but is still an active driver. And there we have Leilani Munter going around, and it will cause a yellow and a late restart, so hold on. The worst thing that Todd Gilliland wanted to see, he's going to have to hold on by himself for what is going to be probably 1 or 2 laps.
Now, the pit stop is going to become important because I think we got to come to pit road. There's only 9 cars on the lead lap right now, Kevin.
So let's see what happens to Leilani Munter, who had a type of mechanical earlier on.
You can see the black.
You can see her path all the way down there. And here's the encore.
Just got to have a little bit loose. Remember, we had 60 laps on these tires, Kevin. We did a nice job keeping that car out of the inside wall.
Munter already was 4+ laps down. She's in 20th position right now. 9 on the lead lap. We're watching to see when pit road opens.
I don't think I want to gamble on 2 tires right here, Kevin. I think I want 4 tires. These speeds all over 3 seconds with those 60 laps on these tires.
We'll see if anybody gambles for 2 tires. Maybe he's running a little further back, like Travis Brayton, Cody Robar, Will Rogers.
Try to steal a couple spots, maybe. But
yeah,
I think to win the race, I think you're going to have to take 4 tires.
I think you're right. So Christopher Bell from 8th to first, not just in the final 2 laps, but he did it in 2 turns last year.
Exactly.
So, pit road is open next time by. Critical stops for these crews and teams. Gilliland, Self. Soon you should see her, Creed, and the rest. There they come. Some stayed out.
Stayed out.
Oh boy.
Creed says Zane Smith is coming in.
All right. Jim, call him in as you see him.
Todd Gilliland is going to his pit stall here, and he's saying, I need some tires. And they're saying, 4, no, make it 2. They want to the right side tire will catch the pressure with this few many laps remaining. So they're going to change 2 right side tires on this Toyota. Also coming up here with the number 15 machine, Michael South. As soon as the clock came out, the crew chief said, thank God, I don't think we would have made it on fuel to the end of the race. So very opportune caution timing for the 15 car to fix that tight condition and get some fuel in that machine.
Guys, how about that 15 car? He's going to come out right behind the 54, and he has 4 tires on that 15 car.
Here's Todd Gilliland. But he's going to be starting beside Herbst. Herbst the only one that stayed out?
Looks like he's the only one that stayed on the racetrack.
Okay, so he's still starting on the front row. So I would say I still like his chances with the fresh General Tire rubber. So this is going to be fun. Riley Herbst on the older tires, and then a pack will be coming up behind him. Stay with us for the finish of ARCA from Chicagoland. Tonight is round 7 of 9 of the championship within a championship, the General Tire Super Speedway Challenge for tracks 1 mile and larger in length. And coming in, it's the 28 MDM car. Matthew Miller, the owner. Sheldon Creed has been in that machine all season. And 2 wins in the last 3 races have moved him to the front. The 18, Coy Gibbs and Joe Gibbs Racing. Riley Herbst has been in that one all season. Second right now, the 15 with multiple drivers running in third. And we still have 4 more to come. Just 2 more in Kansas. see the different incentives and a chance for those that don't run the full season to still celebrate and compete for a championship.
What great drama we have here, though. Riley Herbst, the 18 car, stays out. His tires have over 60 laps on them. Right side tires for the 54 of Tyler Gillen, who's been dominating this race for the last 25 laps. 4 tires for the third place runner, Michael Self, who dominated the first 2/3 of this race.
And it's third place to be. What do we see on the restarts?
I think 4 tires is the place to be, no matter where you restart.
Add that in. If I had to pick somebody right now, it's Michael Self. Todd Gillen has been so strong, though, here in the later stages of this race. So, Herbst looks like he's going to choose the high side. Jill, tell us something about the 54.
Well, the team has already reassured their driver. Yes, we took 2, because as soon as he left pit road, he said, how many other guys took 4? And they said the majority of them. They talked about the 18. They also gave their driver the pep talk he needed. He said, you have the confidence, we have the confidence. That car will fire off. You need to get the lead going into turn 1 to get some gap on these other guys. So they are confident in this setup in this race car with those 2 right sides versus the other 4 lurking right behind him.
So Gillen on the low side with Self behind him. How much does he defend? How much is that his game plan, along with trying to find a way to get around Herbst?
So I think he totally needs to defend right now, because he feels like he has better tires than Herbst. He doesn't feel like he's going to be a problem. But I think right now he's got to be worried about that 15 car. And remember now, with just a couple laps to go, these guys were able to pump those tires up to qualifying pressures. It's not going to take any time to get these air pressures built up. They're going to be on kill right now.
This is like your traditional green, white, checkered finish. 2 laps to go at the line for the restart. On board with Riley Herbst, the ARCA coolers on board. Zane Smith on the outside of Self. Will Rogers started last, 6. Sheldon Creed, the championship leader, on his bottom side in the number 28 in 5th. Chase Purdy, Cody Robaugh, Travis Braden, and Austin Hill. Those 10 all on the lead lap. 2 to go. Restarting in ARCA from Chicagoland. And Michael Self rockets down at the bottom to the front. Sheldon Creed coming with him. Zane Smith taking a look. Gillen still on the high side, battling for second.
Michael Self actually made the pass before they got to the start-finish line. But Riley Herbst really spun the tires badly, so ARCA may look at that and say, hey, he had no choice.
Riley Herbst has fallen all the way back to 5th. Gillen is still coming. Creed is right there on his bumper. Gets him a little bit loose. Creed going low for second. Smith splits them 3 wide. All the while, Self continues to gap the advantage.
Those 2 tires are no match for the 4 tires.
Inside. The final few turns. Herbst banging with Robaugh.
Herbst is doing all he can do to minimize the loss.
Final couple of turns. Does anyone have anything for Michael Self? Sheldon Creed is going to try it. Down below the line. To the line. Michael Self has won in Chicagoland for the 2nd time in 2018. And they're crashing behind him. Decker and Graff will roll past the line. Self wins by just over 1/10 of a second on Sheldon Creed. Then it's Todd Gillen, Zane Smith, and Chase Purdy. The yellow gave Michael Self a new life.
Kevin, I thought it was going to take 4 tires and win this race. Great pit call by that young man right there, Kevin Reed. Called for 4 tires, and I got him a win.
And the Venturinis can celebrate in their home area once again. For the 4th time, they win at Chicagoland. And the 2nd year in a row. Let the celebration begin for Michael Self. What a run for Self this year. 1st, 4th, 3rd. The 21st at Charlotte, 3rd, and now another 1st. 3rd career win.
Finale lap last year at Kansas. Came right back for the first race of the year, won Daytona. Then he goes to victory lane again here at Chicago.
This is Michael Self's 15 career ARCA start. He's been top 4 in 10 of those. 10 of 15. Well, we wait for the winner to get to victory lane. Let's hear from the guy who called the shot to take 4 General Tires, Jim.
Take us through that final call, and I heard on the radio you might have been out of fuel unless we had that last caution. How worried were you?
I think we actually ran out of fuel on pit road, so we were putting fuel in it quit. But we know we were a little close. Looks like we won fuel mileage, but we know we were really close. But can't say any more about these Sinclair Torque, Venerini Motorsports guys. They've worked their guts out this year and just keep bringing good cars to the racetrack. Kristen had a great car at DGR tonight, but other than that, I mean, the Sinclair car was really fast all day, and Michael Self done a hell of a job.
Last year, Michael Self led this race with 10 to go. You were his crew chief with a different team in that race. How much was that playing on your mind in the later stages?
Here, I've lost 2 like that pretty close to the end, so it's been it's pretty bittersweet to get one tonight. We've done it in 2011 when Chad Hockenball lost one here inside of 10 to go, but Michael Self got it home for us tonight.
4th win at their home track for Venerini Motorsports, Sweet Home Chicago for Kevin Reed and the number 15 Sinclair team.
Good entertaining finish tonight. Michael Self getting set to celebrate. Let's go back to that final restart with 2 to go.
Watch the 18 on the outside. Watch how bad he spins the tires. Remember, old hot tires for Riley Herbst. He tries to get going, spins, almost runs in to Gilliland.
And that opened up the door for others. Well, it wasn't done yet because Sheldon Creed was right there. But he had to go to work on Todd Gilliland just to hang on to second for the moment. While those two battled, Self was able to find a comfort zone. Look at Gilliland get down there and try and hang on. And then further back, coming to the checker. So there we saw Natalie Decker get a little bit loose.
I'm not
before
sure.
The contact, or did something turn her?
The 77 definitely got into Natalie, and that's what turned her around. She got a little bit loose to start with. They were battling for position. They were battling for the 11th and 12th spots there. They still ended up finishing 12th and 13th. Looks like there was some contact that got her loose, Kevin. She's still into the outside wall. Natalie also into the outside wall. That's what you hate to see when you get down toward the end. Coming inside of the start-finish line to finish the race, and you get a couple cars tore up.
You're 100 yards or so from finishing with a pretty clean race car, but every position matters, and they're getting after it. Just like Michael Self did tonight. Well, what a look at victory lane here at Chicagoland Speedway. And a patented Venturini celebration is soon to be commenced.
I think Michael Self's getting ready to get wet here. What do you think?
In many ways. Let's just listen in, and Jim, you take it away.
It's been a hot day, guys. It's been a hot day, and Michael Self took time to take a breath. Michael Self taking a breath here, taking a sip of Gatorade. He's about to feel a whole lot more wetness. As he came into the road, he was saying yes, 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 and pointing at his crew for making that decision. The opportune time again on the inside on a restart, just like he did at Daytona, just like he did last fall at Kansas Speedway. Self a winner here. He feels redemption. Look how excited he is with crew chief Kevin Reed. Earlier today he said, I need a win. I've done everything I can to get this car back in his lane. And you did it tonight, Michael. Take us through that last restart to get that position.
Well, we were kind of in the catbird seat there, you know. I mean, we started the race initially third, and we were able to get to the lead by turn one. And I was just replaying that in my mind over and over again. You know, I knew they didn't have the tires that we did in front of us. So use that to our advantage, and you know, it's almost like a repeat of Kansas last year a little bit, just to make the most out of that restart and good tires, and don't ever come out of the gas.
Your dad's here, your wife's here. There's a lot of people here cheering you on that perhaps will get you back in this ARCA car for more than just these 10 races this year. Tell us how important it is to win in front of them.
It's huge, everything. I mean, that's my family, and you know, they've supported me through so much. But more than anything, you know, Sinclair Oil Corporation giving me a chance to do this, and even 10 times a year, it's just unbelievable. And run competitive cars that built by Kevin Reed, the amount of money that Billy Venturini and the Venturini family puts into this. These guys have all given me such a good opportunity, you know, and it's so fun to come out here. It makes me so proud to do it for all of them, and such a rewarding feeling.
How about that call for 4 tires? Gilliland took 2. Was that the difference?
Yeah, man, it's always going to take 4 General tires. So you got 4 great General tires sitting there. You got to take them.
Michael Self wins, the Venturini Motorsports team, and the kiss from team patriarch Bill Venturini. Started here in Chicago with Andy Granatelli and the SDP colors, and that kiss and the Italian heritage runs through as Venturini Motorsports now 3 second-place finishes and 4 wins at Chicagoland Speedway, the ARCA Racing Series.
Let the party begin. Michael Self and Venturini Motorsports celebrating here at Chicagoland Speedway, and a good chance to give a shout out to our broadcast friend and colleague Wendy Venturini. And we're so happy to hear that Wendy, all things considered, is doing pretty well. And she's on her way back to the East Coast in the Toyota Motor Coach. She was out jogging in Sonoma last Saturday morning, I think it was.
Friday or Saturday, yes.
Hit by a car and suffered a skull fracture and a concussion. So that's why she can't fly home, simply because of the air pressure differences. But
there's husband Jared right there. She wanted to give a special shout out to her care, her nurses and her doctors and everything out there. They took great care of her.
Scary stuff. We were all worried last weekend, but happy to hear that Wendy is doing as well as she can be. And we look forward to seeing her back at the racetrack in the very near future. The family's happy tonight. Venturini Motorsports won with Michael Self, and we've got more to come. Stay with us for ARCA from Chicagoland on FS1. Michael Self wins on a late restart in the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards and celebrates at Chicagoland Speedway. Career win number 3, second of this season. Those 3 wins have come in only 15 starts. Fun night of racing. Starting a busy weekend at Chicagoland Motor Speedway. Well, plenty of other stories tonight as you look at the scoring pylon. Sheldon Creed coming home in second. And Todd Gilliland, Jim, third in his second start of the season.
Yeah, that 4th place finish at Charlotte showed he had speed leading all those laps. Here tonight looked like he was in the catbird seat, but Todd, it came down to that caution. Your dad pounding his fist. You didn't want to see it. And then the call to make 2. How challenging was that final restart for you?
It was pretty challenging, but you know, some of these guys shouldn't even be on the racetrack, so that's very, very frustrating. It's ruined our night, both the races I ran this year. And you know, we've had the fastest Frontline Enterprises, Crosley Brands, Toyota Camry every race. So that says something about DGR Crosley, and you know, I'm really proud to drive for him. Hopefully, I think I'm coming back at Pocono, so you know, hopefully we can beat him worse than we did tonight.
It makes sense to go there and here tonight because you're racing in the Camping World Truck Series. What did you learn tonight that will help you tomorrow?
A lot. You know, the lines move around a lot, and you know, our car was so good on the bottom, I didn't really have to move around. So you know, just restarts, all that stuff that is going to be very important. So you know, just kind of take it with a grain of salt, but also you know, always have it in the back of your head. So you know, we'll see. I'm really excited for tomorrow. I think I've got a really fast truck. So you know, from here we just need to move on and refocus.
A solid run tonight. Take what you can and go forward. Look forward to seeing you at Pocono here in the ARCA Series.
Thank you.
Todd Gilliland, third tonight, and that number 54. That call for 2 tires, not quite enough at the finish.
Michael Self taking 4 for Venturini. The difference. Todd Gilliland, speaking of the Camping World Truck Series, fastest in the second practice session today. And here's what's on tap tomorrow from Chicagoland Speedway in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. Phil, you will be on board with Vince Welch, Michael Waltrip, and everybody else. Qualifying is on FS2. That's Eastern time, 5:30 Eastern. And then you'll go racing tomorrow night.
Yeah, great race tomorrow night. Tires are going to be important then as well, just like they were tonight. So could see some strategy play out towards the end of that one.
And here's how the truck points stand up now as we get close to the midpoint of the season. Johnny Sauter, by the way, was fastest in the afternoon practice.
See Justin Haley there in yellow. By virtue of that win, he qualifies for the playoffs. That big win last week at Gateway for Justin.
Look at those just on the outside looking in to get into the top 8 for the playoffs cutoff. Myatt Snyder is right there. Cody Coughlin, Dalton Sargent, the runner-up in ARCA last year. 3, by the way, in this race will be competing tomorrow night. Max Tolman, Austin Hill, and then we just heard from Todd Gilliland with Jim, and Jim has others to chat with.
And taking the opportunity as our point leader and pole sitter for the night, Sheldon Creed, which for a while there didn't look like you were able to hang on to the top 5, much less your race car. Take us through this night and how the conditions changed and how you guys adjusted to finish second tonight.
Yeah, I mean, practice we were really loose to fire off, but kind of a controllable loose there at the end of practice. I felt like our balance was decent. It was like pretty drivable for race trim. And then 2 laps into the race, I just got really, really tight, and I never went away. I just had to be easy into the corner and get into turn before I get back to the gas, which is never fun. You know, you got to be super patient all night. And we made it a little bit better that first stop, but it came back pretty bad. And then I was just kind of holding on there at the end. I didn't know if we were going to get a yellow or not. And as soon as the yellow came out, I was like, all right, well, here, give us an opportunity to do something. And I was pretty excited about that last restart. I know the 5 or 6 of us that were up there were all pretty aggressive, and I knew it was going to be pretty wild. So you don't ever know what to expect. You just know what you want to do. And I got a good start. The 15, I'm all about good restarts and pulling down early and doing what you can, but he was next to the 54 before the line, and I don't know, I guess that's, they don't want to call it whatever, but I'm happy with our run. I can't knock it too bad. I've been close to, I've gotten warnings for pulling down early, so props to them. They killed it all night. They led all night, so they deserved it, but really happy with our United Reynolds Toyota tonight. Got to give it to my guys. They bring a fast race car, and to get another pull, that was cool tonight, but pretty happy with our run.
You were 3-wide a couple times tonight, as well as back in Charlotte the first time we were there, the first time you were there. And hey, you only had 2 laps in racing before you got here to Chicagoland. What made you so racy with those 3-wide opportunities here and at Charlotte? 2 new tracks, really, for you this year.
Yeah, I mean, I love mixing it up and getting dicey with it. I think Charlotte, we were too loose to be 3-wide, and it kind of sucked us around. But tonight, I think we were just so tight. And when you have 2 laps, the guys will pump the tires up just so you're pretty fast at last 2 laps. And I was pretty worried going down in the 1 there, 3 wide, and I don't know, we all drove in there pretty deep, so I was kind of worried it was going to suck me around, but the car was actually planted to the ground pretty good, and just happy to bring the car home and get a second place. I didn't know if we were going to get a yellow there at the end when we were running 4th, so thankful for that caution, and really excited for Iowa next week.
Thoughts of our point leader Sheldon Creed, who gains the most points of any of the full-time teams here this evening.
Impressive run for Sheldon Creed tonight. Wanted to mention the sticker there that you can see, the 41 on the side of his car. That's for Jason Johnson, a friend of many in the NASCAR and the stock car world, the racing world in general. We lost Jason Johnson on Sunday morning. He died after injuries suffered in a crash at Beaver Dam Raceway in Wisconsin last Saturday. A World of Outlaws sprint car driver, very, very successful, a Knoxville Nationals winner, Jason Johnson, gone too soon at the age of 41. It's summertime, so it's racing and baseball season, and you can catch baseball's biggest stars for an unforgettable show from the nation's capital this year. The MLB All-Star Game, July 17th, only on Fox, or stream it live on the Fox Sports app. Fun night of racing tonight at Chicagoland Speedway in ARCA. Michael Self wins for the 2nd time this year. Many others had strong nights, including Chase Purdy, who's with Jim Trado now.
Another top 5 run, the 2nd in a row on a big track. Gateway last week, 2nd, 5th here tonight, Chase. Take us through your day. You said you were struggling a bit in practice. How did things come together for this 5th place finish?
Well, we just kind of got lucky with that caution there at the end. We came down pit road, took 4, and then spotter and crew chief basically told me, hey, that's all you got for 2 laps. Drive as hard as you can. So that's what we did, and we came away with the top 5. I couldn't be any more proud of my Bama Buggies MDM guys, man. They worked their tail ends off all day, and we were really struggling early on, and come up with the top 5. That's a win for us, so we'll take it and go to Iowa.
And you brought on a driver coach that I can hear him on the radio, I can hear you reacting. Austin Terrio, last year's champion in this series, is now helping you almost one-on-one as a driver coach throughout the weekend. How did he help you tonight in the race?
Oh, he's a huge help, especially because he's been here, done that. So when we come to these places, he's able to tell me what I need to do, what I don't need to do, what I need to watch from the race, and how to execute, really. So no, he's been a great help since he's come on, and happy he's with me.
And Chase Purdy's going to Iowa Speedway, a track he actually has experience on, so watch out for the 8 car next week at Iowa.
Good showing for the 18-year-old from Meridian, Mississippi today. He's still in the mix in the championship, fourth. Sheldon Creed didn't expand his advantage too much on Zane Smith.
No, Zane with a great fourth-place finish, hangs in there pretty good, 165 points out.
Riley Herbst still within range. Still a lot to happen. We're just past the midpoint of the season, so still 9 to go here in 2018. Well, I mentioned Riley Herbst, third in the points. Jim has found him now.
Yeah, I made that call. We had 2 tires for the leader that came down pit road late. We had 4 tires for the car that won, and Riley Herbst stayed out on 0 tires. That NOS Energy Toyota was firing off, but at the end, how much of a difference was that leading this field without fresh rubber?
Yeah, man, that was tough. Everybody came in and put tires on, but we're a team here, and so I stand behind them. I'll do it over again if you told me to, but I can't thank everybody at NOS Energy Drink and Joe Gibbs Racing enough for giving me the opportunity to come out here and race and do what I love and turn left.
And with the NASCAR national experience now, a double dip weekend, and now coming here with all that knowledge piling on week after week, how does that help you approach and attack a track like this that you've not been to before, Chicagoland Speedway?
Yeah, it's huge. Just laps on anything is super big, but I can't thank everybody at Terrible Herbst back home in Las Vegas watching me, but if we keep running like this, we'll definitely be able to in victory lane here pretty soon.
And you worked through a lot of things today. That has to help you as well. Working through the heat of the day, that vibration issue. What can you take away from here going forward on the big tracks that remain on the schedule?
No, we don't give up. As you said, in practice, we had like 10 minutes of practice there because we fought a vibration, so we threw everything at it and changed everything, and luckily we fixed it, but I got the best guys in the garage, and they fixed it, and so we were ready to race.
Crew Chief Booty Barker, Car Chief, sometimes spotter Shannon Rush, this team put together a great effort, and Joe Gibbs Racing certainly behind every moment that Riley Herbst races here in the ARCA Racing Series in 2018.
Thank you, Jim. Good work tonight there on pit road from Chicagoland, getting a chance to talk to most of the front runners. So this is a very, very busy stretch of racing every week in the ARCA Racing Series, and the 11th of 11 is going to be our next broadcast. The second time this season will be at Pocono, coming up on FS1 the end of July.
No, Riley Herbst is looking forward to going back
Yes,
to
he
Pocono,
is.
the winner last year.
And then the season will finish, and a champion will be crowned at Kansas Speedway in October. Jim, who have you found now?
Well, I found a driver who's certainly on the gas pedal, the number 41 of Zane Smith, in contention again this evening, second in points. Sheldon gained a few more on you tonight. How does that change your outlook going forward? And did it change anything coming to tonight, knowing how good he has been on bigger racetracks?
Yeah, it's pretty much still the same mindset to me. I'm just trying to come here to win races, really. That's what I tried doing tonight, just kind of got in a bad lane there behind the 18. He didn't take tires, so that really hurt us. And then they were jumping out way before the start-finish line, and then they just all fanned out, which they went over a good bit in the driver's meeting just because people have been doing it a good bit this year. So I did also, since everyone else was, and I was in the middle, and then I went between Sheldon and Todd coming to the white, and I just kind of got sucked right back and couldn't really do anything right there, and then was in the middle of 3 wide, and when you're in the middle, you're kind of just holding on. But not a bad night. Just got to thank La Paz Margarita Mix, Ultra Wheel, Speed Vegas, Icon Vehicle Dynamics, Offline Star, all the people behind me. Thank you.
We're adding some speedways you've got experience on in the remainder of the second half of the schedule. How much will you attack the short tracks, knowing that Sheldon may not have as good a piece because early in the season you've been dominant on the short tracks?
Yeah, I think we definitely need to go get a win at Elko. That's my only mindset, is just to win these deals, and hopefully Sheldon gets a bad race or two, maybe. That'd really help us, but we're only one race into the next half, so still got a long way to go.
We wish you well in doing that. Zane will be in action full-time this season. He made his national debut in the NASCAR Truck Series last week, guys. A very impressive run at Gateway. That was a double-duty weekend there. I asked him when his next one is. He said, don't know, but ready for every opportunity. This young driver is certainly fast tonight with another top 5 finish.
That is his 8th of the season, and Zane Smith is still the Scott Rookie Challenge Championship leader. All right, that last crash coming to the checkers between the 25 of Natalie Decker and the 77 of Joe Kraft Jr. Graff has been treated and released from the care center, checked and released, and Natalie did not require a visit to the care center. Michael Self wins and continues the celebration, pictures, and much more. It's still early on in the evening for the Venturini team. Winners here at Chicagoland Speedway. In just a few minutes when we're done, stay tuned for FIFA World Cup tonight. At Chicagoland Speedway, the weekend got started with the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards. Michael Self wins the Scott 150, and let's go back and tell you how it all happened from the start of this race. Sheldon Creed was the pole sitter on the outside, but Self went down below the bottom, Phil, to get the jump.
Yeah, a move he would use a little bit later on in the race as well.
He was impressive, as was Will Rogers. Contact in qualifying, so he started last, 27th, but it did not take him long to get up to the middle.
Yeah, he was up to the top 10 fairly early on. You can see here making a move around the 98 of Blaine Perkins. Great run by Will Rogers.
And he ran in the top 10 most of the race and ended up finishing in 9th. So Self the leader here on the outside, slow getting up to speed on the restart after a caution.
As good a restart he's had on the initial start, that was a horrible restart.
That just gave him a chance to show off a little bit. Sheldon Creed had the lead. Self came right back to get it, going around the outside. He led 63 of these 102 laps.
We didn't think anybody was going to be able to catch him at this point. Gus Dean had a loose right rear wheel, had to come to pit road to change that. He ended up off the pace 3 laps.
But Todd Gilliland cut him down 3 seconds back, and within 6 or 7 laps, he had the lead, and it looked like Gilliland was going to cruise until Leilani Munzer went around.
A late caution flag, and then the strategy comes out. Do you put 4 tires on? Do you put 2 tires on? Riley Herbst stayed out with no tires. You see him spin the tires on the restart. 2 tires for Todd Gilliland in the 54, 4 tires for that 15 car, and away he goes.
You set it up before the race. Tires were going to be critical. Self had 4 of them. Creed made a valiant effort, but Michael Self winning for the 2nd time in 2018, the 3rd time in just 15 ARCA starts in his career. Very impressive. Congratulations, Michael Self, winner of the Scott 150. For Phil Parsons and Jim Trado, I'm Kevin Lee. FIFA World Cup tonight is next on FS1.